A new survey has found that 84% of teachers have been victims of verbal abuse or violence in the past year. 1 in 5 say they've been hit or punched, and frighteningly, there have been around 30,000 violent incidents against teachers involving a weapon. So perhaps no surprise that over half of teachers say that they have actually considered quitting their jobs. I mean, obviously, you've got younger kids at school, you've got friends who are teachers and things. I mean, do you relate to this?
Yeah, I've had, like, friends who are teachers that have been assaulted physically by children in primary school, which surprised me. And she said to me, she said, you know, you would expect that it sounds silly because these kids are so young, but she said that it's terrifying.
I mean, there was some stats from, this was October 24 last year, that children as young as 4 had been caught bringing knives and other weapons to school. I mean, I presume that's relatively exceptional. But, you know, we've discussed adolescence a lot, haven't we, about the influence of young boys, but if you've seen it, the second episode, it really was centred in a school, because a long time since I've had a connection with school. I have to say, I was sitting there horrified, thinking to myself, is that really what a lot of schools are like, or was that over-dramatised? I mean, you were in school less than a decade ago. Did you recognise that?
Well, I remember at my school that the police... I went to a public school, so the police were there quite a lot. And they were... You'd have no respect.
State school.
State school.
Public is what the Americans call... But we call... Public school here is private.
As you can tell, I had no education. Yeah, whatever school I went to, you had no respect for the police. And a lot of the times, the people that were naughty at school, they never had any authority at home. So when they came to school, why would they respect anyone who was older than them there? I think
when you say respect, it's an interesting word. I mean, Jane and I, obviously slightly older than you two.
The days before electricity.
I know. But, you know, there were certain people in the community, teachers would be one of them, not all teachers, but a lot of teachers, police officers, you know, your parents often, you were scared of them. I mean, actually scared of them. You just would not mess with them. Has that gone, do you think?
I think a lot. And I also think, you know, with the gentle parenting, where a lot of people now are kind of scared to tell their kid off. If your kid's being really annoying, I think you should absolutely say, shut up, because you're being annoying. And I think now, because they're not used to being told off, when someone tells a child off, they're so taken aback by it that their immediate thing is defence.
Yeah.
So, but I don't even know if you could go back from that.
That's the question. I mean, Jane, we do remember a very different sort of time, but you can't just roll the clock back,
yes,
can you?
You can.
Do you think you can?
Yeah.
Really?
I think for the good of society and for the good of the kids, you need to. Because I just think, like, so back in the day, there was a pincer movement, right? So, as you say, teachers had authority in the community, doctors, police, whatever. And that came from on high. That came from government level, and it was like, you have these jobs, we will back you up in being crucial roles within the community. And parents had that as well. So, like, say, for example, if somebody was naughty at my school and they got sent to the head's office, their parent would come in and go, what have you done? What have you done? Who have you, you know, whatever. Now it's like, who's told my child off?
Yeah.
How dare you tell off my child? I mean, not everybody's like that, but... So it's all got very, very loose, and that sort of pincer movement of... If I discipline my children, the police will have my back, the doctors will have my back, the teachers will have my back. It's all gone. It's all become very loose and very liberal.
But how do you bring that back?
The kids are now in charge.
How do you bring that back? I mean, it's just not going to happen
from on
overnight.
high. You make a diktat. You make a sort of...
From where?
The Prime Minister or whoever, or the Education Secretary, makes a statement and says, you know, how many times do we hear of teachers losing their jobs because they said to a child, can you just be quiet, please? And it's like, oh, you've assaulted me. That's it.
Do you think it's because all the power has been taken away from these people? Because when you talk about the police and stuff, it's like no one's scared of them because they know here...
That's what I'm saying.
They can't do anything,
They've lost their authority.
Teachers,
because there's no backup from on high.
Is it, I'm just being told, actually, we've had a text in from Lauren, who is a teacher, and before I say what it is, this is my thing. We need to listen to teachers. We really need to listen to teachers because, I mean, if they're being subjected to this kind of thing in their day-to-day working life, nobody's going to want to be a teacher and then we're going to be in trouble. But anyway, what Lauren says is that there are so many children now with special educational needs that are very much within the mainstream, and teachers are having to deal with, you know, kids with very sort of complex situations, that is one of the major things that is contributing to the disruption that we're seeing. Yeah.
They don't have any time to police because they're dealing with people with complex needs, because everything else, all the social care and everything has fallen to pieces.
It's funny, there was a time, wasn't there, that we very much moved towards mainstreaming, that everyone should be educated together because we didn't want to single certain children out. And I can see the logic for that because they would feel stigmatised. Having said that, I wonder, and it'd be great to hear from more teachers, whether or not we've gone too far that way and we're asking teachers to teach a class of 30 kids, and within that there are, I don't know, 10 or 15 that really need to be treated very individually, and they just can't.
Or you just get a disruptor. It's not necessarily about needs. You get a disruptor and the whole lesson becomes about controlling the disruptor. So any kid in the class that actually wants to learn and to get something out of school, they come out with nothing because all the focus has gone on the disruptive child. Just remove them.
Well, did that kind of happen with you, Grace?
Yeah, I mean, at my school, I was in, no shock, bottom sets. So I'd always be with the naughty kids.
That is a shock to me, to be honest.
God bless Cass.
No, it seriously is. You're a bright girl.
Thank you. Well, I was always in bottom sets and it was full of naughty kids. And what they do is they take them into isolation. So you'd be in a room on your own for about a week. And then what that would do is when they would come out of it, they would just be so full of, like, pent up, like, energy and wanting to talk to people that they would do the exact same. They'd mess around because they hadn't seen their friends in their classes and go straight back into isolation. So I think the methods that they have now don't really work. I think we should bring back really scary teachers.
Oh, I had such a scary teacher. Mr. Gray, no longer with us. He literally would just, if you were doing something in class that he didn't like, he would just go...
The look.
He would just look and you'd be like... You'd just be terrified. He had control of the class completely and utterly. And he never raised his voice. But he would know that he could remove you, take you to the head, and he'd be backed up.
Yeah. I mean, we are getting a lot of people who work in schools getting in touch with us, you know, teaching assistants getting in touch, saying that they feel that they're taking the brunt of this and they're not getting any support. I'm quite passionate about this, because in other bits of my work, I do phone-ins and we get lots of communications from teachers, and I think we need to really listen to our teachers who are there at the coalface, dealing with these situations day in, day out, and just say, right, tell us what's happening before you can get a good solution.
I think people know what's happening. They're just not doing anything about it.
Well, I mean, but I'm interested, Grace, because I'm saying maybe you just turn back the clock. But your immediate thing is bring in more scary teachers.
Yeah, I think you just need to scare them, like, a lot. Even if it means, like, police with, like, dogs coming in. I think just scare the living daylights out of them and they won't mess around anymore. Because teaching, I feel, is one of the most important jobs.
Yes.
You're raising a whole generation of, like, prime ministers, doctors, everything. And if you have one naughty person in that class, someone that could have had an amazing career in something might not pursue it because they just didn't feel like they wanted to bother.
Yeah. You know, good teachers can't be good teachers when they're controlling disruptive elements.
No. Well, funny, you mentioned gentle parenting, and again, we've had someone else getting in touch, Kaylee, who works in a nursery, and she says she thinks that gentle parenting is part of the issue here, and it's something that we need to kind of rethink. Can you stop fidgeting, please? Oh. Sit up straight.
I'd be scared of you.
We have had so many comments coming in about violence against teachers from teachers who are watching at home. Of course, Good Friday today, you're getting a well-earned rest. And we've got Anne, who says she retired over a year ago after teaching for 35 years. She says, thankfully, I was never attacked, but I dread to think what will happen before someone takes control and starts a change in the dreadful situation. It was one of the factors in my decision to retire at 60. So, Anne, obviously, I've had enough.
Wendy, my daughter's a pupil support assistant in a primary school. She tells me about evacuating classrooms multiple times a day to protect the other children and staff. Not all incidents are documented as there isn't enough time in the day to do this. There's not a lot of teaching taking place. There are no consequences. And Gail says, I left my pupil support role 18 months ago. After 14 years, I'd had enough. The last few years, I've seen such a huge increase in bad behaviour. I have been punched in the face and stomach where I had a stoma. I have been bruised all up my arms and legs and have been kicked. Classrooms are wrecked and pupils pick up chairs to threaten teachers.
I mean, that is horrific. I mean, this is assault.
Oh,
I mean,
my God.
you know, in any other sphere of life, that would be a police matter. And we're asking people to go into these situations and sort out our kids. I mean, wow.
That's shocking.
I hope you're having a day off, teachers. My goodness, you deserve our respect.